Dark World manages to take a top 32 slot. There's a lot of Snake Eyes variants in the meta, and don't worry, Melodious is evolving with the times. Make sure you guys smash the ever-living crap out of that subscribe button so you guys don't miss out on more awesome. We have your top 16 breakdown here, but I do want to give a shout out to the Dark World deck when we get into deck list here that actually managed to make its way into top 32. Good stuff. So, top 16. You're going to have 5 pure Snake Eyes variants in this top cut, which is, wow. Now, if you want to actually get kind of crazy here, you technically have what would be, I guess, 9 Snake Eyes variants. I mean, in the course of these Snake Eyes variants, you had the 5 pure, you had 2 Melodious, a Kashtira, and we're still going to be counting Fire King separate from itself as its own pile, but technically, the Snake Eyes piles had 9 of the top 16. It's just there are variants. You're starting to see that overlap kind of occur, which we're kind of used to actually seeing that occur. But okay, we also had 3 Tenpai make their way into top 16. I'm actually happy to see that. Unfortunately, you know, Tenpai's turnover wasn't that great for the rest of the tournament, but it's enough that you got to look at this and go, all right, there was an effort, and they were definitely pushing for this. We also had 1 Melodious. Technically, there were 1 pure Melodious with the 2 Melodious variants of Snake Eyes is actually pretty good. Also, Melodious is using it to make like Apo Turbo, which is kind of interesting. Branded managed to find a seat at the table still. Branded is still doing its very standard metagame approaches out here. I got to give it to Branded. The deck's resilience in the meta has just... it's just doing so strongly. Voiceless Voice only as a 1-of. I expected Voiceless Voice to do a little bit better, but this is actually rough to see. And of course, our favorite Flaunderies deck is still in top 16. Top 8. Oh man, 4 Snake Eyes variants. Okay, that's not good. Just kidding. There's actually 6 because there were 2 Melodious variants. That is 6 Snake Eyes decks converting on over. And then you had 1 pure Melodious deck doing the takeover. And of course, you had 1 Tenpai. Wow. This Snake Eyes stuff is, well, at least it's starting to look a little bit different. And your top 4 was 3 Snake Eyes with a Melodious Snake Eyes variant as well. So technically you had 4 Snake Eyes variations in the course of the top cut. Wow, what a tournament. And of course, pure Snake Eyes ended up winning the event with the Melodious Snake Eyes hybrid build, taking it down as a 2nd place. So overall, I mean, I'm not surprised by this, but okay, let's pass on over those deck lists. Oh, winning our, I'm just kidding, this is our top 8 Melodious special here to the people that are like, oh, hey, this is actually kind of cool. We're actually playing double small world down here. We also have a Barrier Statue of the Heavens, and we are doing the Condemned Witch plays. Yes, who doesn't love the fact that you can toggle Condemned Witch and just kind of, you know, get the free little value, free droplets, free little light barrier statue. Okay. And of course, you do see the Tam Tam down here getting cited for time. Poor Tam Tam is not getting hardly any respect whatsoever. I do like this card. I think it's good, but that also means you have to play the polymerization. And I do see that we are playing the Lizard Dose in here as well. It's been a little while since we've seen people kind of cooking up some interesting little choices, but I do like this. You do see the Underworld Goddess down here as a little assist card to kind of help you out along the way, but in terms of your generalized, I guess, innovations, this is kind of cute to see. All right, next up is the Melodious variations. And basically what they're doing here is Ostinato Turbo, and then you're trying to end on like some bigger end boards by putting up additional monsters on the Ostinato. Also, just being ignorantly able to kind of, what is it, splash 7, 8 cards in your deck. Okay, you know, I get the splashability area is good. And of course, Metaltronus started to show up as a pretty huge tech choice out of this event. I will tell you, we'll talk a little bit more about Metaltronus later, But I do think that a lot of people are going to underestimate this card for the course of this format. Of course, the food show down here, and just overall, this format, I think, is going to explore into some interesting little tech choices that you can actually do. We're also seeing the Silvera down here as well. Okay, interesting. Next up here, you know, these Kashtira builds that we tend to look at out here in terms of exploring. I mean, can we even really call this Kashtira? Because, like, oh boy, you're playing a Birth, you're playing a Raceloth, and then you're got the Fenrir and the Unicorn built in. You're playing these cards as utility options because you want to make sure that, you know, you can get the best maximum value that you can. Being able to pressure your opponent, also, you know, ripping from the extra deck, taking care of threats. These cards are good. Also, more deck lockdown out here. I'm telling you, deck lockdown is... It's been here for a lot of formats, and people are going to continue to use it. And of course, we did have Trishula down here. I think this is a cool little tech choice as well. Being able to Trishula off of what? 7, 1, and 1. Congratulations. Most Snake Eyes players are going to look at that and they're going to go, why? Oh, what has happened to, you know, do this instead of, you know, making the formula? Okay. What else we got cooking? Tenpai Senpai. We are playing the Ghost Mortar Moonlit Chills down here. You do see the Kawaki Meru Draco starting to make its rounds down here because you need something to bring off of the spheres on the going first place. Making a Kawaki Meru Draco is a pretty big inconvenience to your opponent. I've also been seeing the Rivalry main decked a lot in these variants. Nothing wrong with this, by the way. I think having Rivalry be a good, steady card that you can kind of look at and, you know, use as a strong base for your strategy is good. Also, Floodgate. Floodgate go brrr. We've definitely seen how stupid this can get. Shout out to this card, by the way. I absolutely love the stupid gas that you can get with this. Outside of that, a lot of your Tenpai variants are going to be pretty normal, in my opinion. You'll always have people out here trying out interesting little tech choices, but for sure, yeah, straightforward. Oh, wow, just kidding. We weren't done. You do see we have the Ghost Ogres in this variant. Down here in the extra deck, what's actually quite hilarious to me is we have no Vorpal, we have no Samurai. We're not even, I guess, if we're not even worried about Yubel. I guess if we're worried about Yubel, we can kind of chug on in and ride this to victory, I suppose. You do see the Rivalry push down here to the side. Once again, I mean, both of these Tenpai decks did make top 16. So there's no wrong answer in their tech choices because they both actually ended at the same record. I have been wanting to test out Desires in this deck. I do think that having Desires push to net you some free extra resources might actually be something kind of worth exploring. Yes, I understand we are playing Pot of Prosperity in this, but you've got to make some decisions in terms of this. Being able to get to the value tree for this is very important. Oh, it's our Dark World Challenger. Now, this was the first thing that caught my attention here. We're playing Varsago the Destroyer in here. You gotta love your fusion substitutes so you can kind of do your thing. You have a pretty strong danger package in here of 7 cards to make sure you can get to your thing. We are actually main decking the card destruction. I mean, if you run into the 1-tier player and they actually have, you know, the God Nuts, well, you know, you just kind of got Yu-Gi-Oh'd at that point. We're actually playing Super Polys in here as well, so you're getting into the good stuff. Now, with the Versago, they're using it as a fusion sub to actually make Colress. And remember, on fusions, I'm going to destroy all cards your opponent controls. This card gets an original attack and defense for each of the number of materials used for its summon times 100. And you can target one face card you control. Discard a card. Also, your opponent cannot target that face of card on the field with card effects for the rest of this turn. I don't know why I never thought of Versago for a fusion sub for Colress, but it works. Okay. All right, what else we got back here? Some Snake Eyes. I see we're playing Birch. Birch has been like the biggest, maybe I want to test this out, maybe I don't want to test this out card I've seen in Snake Eyes as of late. We also have the Silvera built in here as well. You're going to see a lot of Silvera. Like, this card has just been a huge push out here for this, and I will tell you, it's going to help out a lot. Hey, it's actually kind of cool to see Lullaby back in the format here. I guess with how much Snake Eyes was just genuinely predicted to be seen here, having a Lullaby kind of show back up in the format is really not all that surprising. It's just one of those cases of, hey, you know, more mirror match, more value. And of course, still stick on the cross-out designator. You want to make sure you can punish your opponent. It's all the same standard stuff you're very used to seeing out here. And, hey, more Snake Eyes. There was so much Snake Eyes present for this event. Hey, look, we actually had the formula to go into the Omega or go into the Dissipator. Punish your opponent. You have the crossouts in here, very standard stuff. The Moonlit Chills and the Effect Veilers. All that cool standard stuff that you're used to seeing. And I guess we're playing a Monster Reborn down here. Got to get a little bit spicy with some of the tech choices, right? And our dear friend Birch. Hey, no Silvera in this build, though. I guess we weren't quite spicy enough to keep up the trend of seeing Silvera out here actually doing its thing. But outside of that, interesting, I will say. So what do you guys think? Please, leave a comment down below. Tell me what you guys think. I'll see your beautiful faces back. You learn today, guys. Peace. Patrons, thank you.
Thank you so much for watching. Check out these other videos.